Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by. The short sale queen. You know how usually I come up with a cool nickname or a dumb nickname, one of the two? This one was easy because she really does have a nickname, the short sale queen. I'm hanging out with Nicole. Nicole, oh my gosh, this is going to be cool because you are going to help us to understand short sales and how to make dough from short sales, right?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do this. Wow. So how about right off the bat, tell us about short sales and tell us as investors how we can get rich off short sales. That's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to look at short sales is that this is another exit strategy. So these are leads that you're already marketing to, but you're walking away from because it doesn't have equity. So a lot of these investors that are doing direct marketing, this is another tool on your tool belt that you can be able to recoup some of the marketing dollars, right? Because nothing's more frustrating than going to an appointment. We all know how expensive these leads are. Going to an appointment, a seller raises their hand that they want to sell, and you can't do anything with it because the numbers don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the investors are able to have this whole other pipeline. A short sale is where a homeowner has some type of financial hardship. So usually they're in pre-foreclosure or they're in foreclosure, and they owe more than the house is worth. So this is where you're at an appointment and the seller's like, yes, I do want to sell, but I owe 200, just as an example, and an investor's offer would be 100. Well, it's not going to make any sense, but that seller still needs help. Now the investor can purchase the house through the bank while the bank takes the loss instead of the seller. So the seller essentially gets to walk away free and clear, while now the investor has another opportunity to purchase at a discount.
All right, so let's get a little bit more specific. All right, so and we do have some people who do short sales, so meaning people who are investing in those. So, and where is it best for you to get engaged to be able to help some of these investors, either I guess the short sellers or E's, or the
Yeah.
investors? You know what I mean? There's a lot of terminology there that'd be kind of weird, but anyway, you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. So the best way to bring us in is as soon as you identify, like, okay, you know what, this seller looks like they might be a good candidate because the numbers don't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
and I still want to buy the house, but I just can't where it stands. That's where you'd reach out to us. So we're actually 100% referral. We work with investors all over the country and realtors that try to sell it and they can't. And then that's where we, pick up, and we're an extension of their rapport. So they're meeting with that seller, we're partnering with them, and we pre-qualify the seller to make sure that they truly qualify. And then we get the short sale started.
Got it. Okay, and that's making sense. And then you say you can work with people all over the country. So meaning I can be in whatever San Diego. Let's say I want to do $1 million property that's upside down. You can help get involved in the engagement right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part is that we charge the lender our fees. So the investor's not paying us, nor is the seller.
Now we're talking. So I get it. So I don't even care about your fees. That's interesting. And to me, now correct me if I'm wrong. So let's say someone's trying to sell their home, they're upside down, or the bank, or whatever the case is. And now, because there's someone on the other side, that makes my universe of potential buyers even bigger as a result, because they're already engaged with you, if that makes sense. That makes sense?
Not really.
No,
You're crazy.
let's just forget that. I'm sure we can cut that. I'll come
Okay.
to. I like my idea, but in my idea, it's going. My head's running wild because I think this can add value to a whole bunch of people out there. So, but who are you best for? Who are you best to work with? Brokerages? I mean, there's a long list, I can tell.
Yeah. So we have three avatars. The homeowner direct, right, that comes to us that needs help. The realtor that does not know how to process a short sale because dealing with banks, selling the house is the easy part. Dealing with the lenders, negotiating, knowing every lender and their requirements is a whole other world that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the real estate investor that's already marketing to these sellers and losing out on these opportunities because they don't know how to, half of them don't even know how to identify a short sale.
Yeah.
The other half is like, I don't know how to approach the bank. The bank actually requires us to be involved, a realtor to be involved, because someone has to facilitate the process. So this is built in that the lender is actually requiring because the investor can't negotiate their own deals. So all three avatars are, who we work with.
So back to my point that I couldn't articulate very well. I never said I was a smart guy. So, okay. So if you are working with one of our, let's say we have at least 2,000 people who are agents in our database who are listening to this. If they are working with you, they will be able to work better with you, with the end user purchaser, because they have someone on their side of the table who understands this stuff. So they'll be able to market to more people as a result of having a relationship with you.
Yeah. So most realtors, I mean, I'm a big believer that everyone should stay in their lane, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a realtor and this isn't what you're wanting to do, it makes zero sense to put your time and money behind processing one short sale. And because you're going to spend all of this time figuring it out. They did a statistic a couple of years ago, Bank of America, that only 22% of short sales actually get approved.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of the person that's actually processing. So with our realtor partners, they refer it out. We pay them a referral fee of whatever we end up making, and they get updates every step of the way, and they're happy because the person gets helped. They still get paid for the lead. And, it also opens up a lot of opportunities for them because, they weren't able to close it.
That's what I was trying to say. That's exactly right. They have a bigger universe as a result of that. Same thing with the seller.
Yep.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Wow, I get it. And you mentioned your three avatars. So I'm going to concentrate a little bit on our agents because those are the ones I think you can add value to. So how does that work? Let's say they have 5 clients as an example they're working with. You can get engaged early on and help them through that process, correct?
Yeah. So we train a lot of agents on what to look for and what the questions to ask, because the worst thing you could do is take on something and realize, oh, I actually can't sell it. Right. So what's happening right now in the market is in the last, year or so, like we've seen such a huge shift because people that just purchased, two different types of sellers, the people that just purchased the last couple of years from 2022, 2023, that are over leveraged and can't sell. And then the other from the pandemic, they have been behind since. And now they're in a situation where they've already, dragged it out as long as they could and they can't sell. So those are the type of sellers that we're seeing right now that are in foreclosure. And so we train the agents of like, hey, this is what to look for, because a lot of these agents will put the house on the market. They spend their time and money marketing a property that should have been a short sale from the very beginning.
And do you also work with commercial real estate agents or no?
No, we stay in our lane. I've done commercial before, but we solely focus on single family.
Yeah, I got it. So, okay. So what's one other little tip for me as let's say a seller? Let's say I'm a seller and I'm just struggling. I don't want to go through the process of a short sale. Help me to, walk down that path, what that's like to make me feel better as a, short seller.
Yeah. So let's just remove like all labels. Let's just say like this is a person that's struggling and they're losing their house, right? Because short sale is only if they're over leveraged. There's so many sellers that have equity that just need help. And what you just said is such a realistic situation. They don't want to sell. They need us. They don't want to work with us. And so a lot of even investors that we teach on how to market to these type of sellers, it's a whole other type of motivation, right? So if that's you and you're in that situation, the best thing I can do is give you clarity and help you arrive to the reality of the situation. So if you're like, the biggest objection is, I've already gotten this taken care of. Like I've already talked to the bank, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where I get to ask the right questions and say, great, so what did you end up doing? And then helping them walk through, like making them face the foreclosure and where they're at, because most of them don't have a choice. The reason why people lose their houses to foreclosure is 100% because no one was able to connect with them to show them like, look, you have options,
Mm-hmm.
right? But most of the sellers, they put their head in the sand and
Wow.
they don't deal with it. And then it's too late. And by the time they do deal with it, they find a real estate investor or real estate agent that doesn't know how to stop the foreclosure because it's too soon. And then they lose it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like a domino effect. So if you were a seller that was in that situation, I would talk to you, figure out what you've already tried, because if I don't have context of what you've already done, I can't provide a solution. And that's what we teach of like, hey, when we talk to the seller, don't assume anything. Like, first of all, most people just want to be heard. So
Mm.
figure out what's going on, what happened, what have they already tried, and then you can start talking about, okay, well, based on that, this is what we can do to help.
Well, you seem passionate about it. So, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Mhm.
You really do. So, and very convincing. Wait a minute. What's an engagement look like? How does someone get a hold of you, first of all, and then what's an engagement look like?
So easiest way people can get a hold of us is our website, the ssqueen.com. I also put a lot of free content on YouTube. You can go down the rabbit hole on working with pre-foreclosures, and it's the short sale queen. And what do you mean engagement? Like for an investor or realtor
Either
to
one.
come
Yeah.
to
Let's say I want to work with you. Let's say I've gone to shortsalequeen.com. No, ssqueen.com.
either one? Yeah. So if you go there, there's different options for either taking free classes, because we do a lot to give back to the community. That you could take one of our free classes, or if you want to refer a lead, you'll just hit submit a lead. You put your information and the seller's information.
Mm-hmm.
Um, One thing that is super crucial that we are huge on, especially because we are 100% referral, is our weekly updates. So if you're ever bored, you can go to Google and see Short Sale Queen, and you'll see over 100 reviews, and it's all the same consistent messaging from everyone. Like, they were on top of it, because our brand, my brand and my reputation is our entire company. And so because of that, we're big on making sure everyone knows every step of the way what's going on, so that there's no confusion. Because my biggest pet peeve is people do so much to try and get business, but they don't do anything to keep it. So it's like, I shouldn't have to chase you to figure out what's going on with the deal I sent you or anything like that.
Yeah. Your reputation is very important. Let's talk about that. It's a little off subject, but you got a good little marketing thing going on. Let's talk about that really quickly. Like, give a little bit of a flavor for your background and how you've been able to turn your business, because some of our real estate people are going to try to expand their business as well, and yours is a good one to try to replicate.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate that. So I started off in the business doing REOs, which are foreclosure owned, working with asset managers. And then when I came out, I was like, okay, I don't want to work for the banks. This is a terrible job.
Hmm.
And then, because you're evicting seller, I mean, just
Oh.
literally the opposite of what I do now. And I got my real estate license, and I was like, okay. And then, of course, how fate, God, whatever, like literally my first listing was a short sale. And everyone, literally everyone, my broker at the time, the agents were like, don't waste your time. Just move on. Short sales don't close. And that was something that really resonated with me, because I'm like, okay, why does nobody want to help this person who still needs to sell? And so I figured it out, right? Like, one thing, I didn't know anything. I was so young and naive, but I was tenacious. And I was like, and I also was broke. So there was that, right? And
Yeah, there's always that.
there was that. So, just like any agent, new agent, it's like, I got a listing. I got to figure out how to sell it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I was on the phone with Aquin, who's now PHH, for over an hour. And I was like, so what do we do? Da-da-da. And so the reason why I say that is because talking to everyone that I knew, no one knew how to help me. No one understood the process. And I was like, how does no one know what's going on? So then I started developing my process. Then I started teaching it. And then instead of sitting here saying, send me the leads, send me your referrals, I always led with value. I always said,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? Just use me as a resource. Call me if you have questions. And 100% of the time, they would say, okay, Nicole, can you just do it? Nicole, can you just handle it? And so that's how I started getting referrals. Well, in the community, like in my Metroplex in Dallas Fort Worth, I was the go-to where I would go above and beyond. Like, when someone would send me a lead, I was like over communicating, and I would get it done, and I wouldn't stop. I would could just make sure that it was done. And the biggest thing is that even when there was times where I would lose money, if I told you I was going to say something, if I was going to do something, I would do it. I mean, it's such a simple concept of doing what you say you're going to do, right? The bar is so low in our industry, unfortunately, where people don't get that your word is all you have. And I literally built an entire company off of it where people just started, saying, "Hey, talk to Nicole. She's the queen. Like, she'll help you. Like, she's a short sale queen." And so when we went national, because we kind of just blew up off of the reputation, that's when I branded the short sale queen, because that was my nickname here locally for years. And honestly, when I did it, I was so nervous. This was like in 2019. I was like, this is either going to be super cheesy or this is going to be really good. And I'm grateful because it really took off and it's really good. And now I'll go places and people will be like, "Oh, the short sale queen."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, my name's Nicole." And they're like, "Oh, Nicole." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's my name." Like, but people just like literally know me as the short sale queen. So good branding. And then of
Nice.
course, finding a team that supports my vision, that cares just as much as I do, has been super fundamental in our growth. We have at any given time, a little bit over 100 listings. Like right now, technically we have 98, but like we do a very high volume
Mm.
of short sales. And
Mm.
just, being consistent with my messaging while everyone's kind of doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I have always been consistent in how I brand myself and how I show up. And I've never asked for business, but I've always led with value. So
That's
that's like a little.
impressive. I get it.
Yeah.
That's impressive. What you, I mean, I mean that says a lot for the work you're doing, and you're passionate about it. So let me ask a few more questions about that, about the passion. So what's next? Actually, what's next for you? Because I can tell that you're going to grow and grow and grow. What's next for you and or the company?
So short sales are doing fantastic. I mean, it's kind of on autopilot. We've got a great team. At this stage of the game for me, because I've been just for 14 years. Gosh, if I could talk. Um, I'm so passionate about helping other people make money.
Hmm.
So, I love what we do, and I love helping the community that we're building with the realtors and investors get their own deals and constantly see proof of concept. So, because we're nationwide, we have our pre-foreclosure, our community, and literally just agents and investors all over the country really bridging that gap of how to help them make money. And so I'm just growing that and growing our referrals and all that.
So the community. Do you have a community, truly like an online community, where it's definable? If so, how does that work?
Yeah, so we call it the pre-foreclosure boot camp,
Mm.
but there's no certain time frame. Like once you're in, you're in. And we have coaching every Tuesday and Thursday. When you
Got it.
sign up, there's modules like step by step of, like where how to find the deals, how to overcome the objections. And then what I've found, especially when it comes to coaching, is like most people buy information, but then they don't know how to apply it.
Yeah.
And so I give so much for free through YouTube. So what we're looking for is not everyone. We want to work with people who want to make
Yeah.
money and who want to do deals. So that's what we focus on, of helping them with the implementation, so that they can actually get fast tracked to make money. And so that's what we've got going on. It's every Tuesday and every Thursday, and then we have like 2 masterminds a year, and that's what we've been focusing on right now.
Does it cost? Is there a cost to be a part of that community or no?
Yeah. So the first step is they would go to the website, fill out an application, and then I would show them. We would have an appointment, and then we'd go over how that works.
I understand. Have there ever been any instances where the people who are, getting short sailed, if that's the right term, actually turned into kind of one of your biggest evangelists, that they became one of your biggest clients, as an example, meaning after the fact?
You mean like a seller that we did a short sale for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have so many raging fans because
Yeah.
we literally deal with the worst type of transactions. Like we could do
Exactly.
several podcasts on, I don't even know if I can curse here, but like the biggest shit show that you would ever imagine. And I can tell you again, like when I retire and stop doing transactions altogether, I will write another book of just the craziness that we see. But yeah, we have sellers that literally will refer us all of their family and friends. They are, if you even just go on social media, you'll see people that We've been really blessed to be a part of, even transactions that like business, like probably not the best decision to take on because it was way more work, but it's such a great feeling to be able to make money, but most importantly, the impact that we make.
Mm,
Like this is the worst time in someone's life, and
exactly.
we genuinely get to help them. One, where they're so overwhelmed, provide clarity, and then solve this problem that we know that most likely they wouldn't have had help otherwise, against lenders that are just so predatory and
Yeah.
just terrible situations. Like if you're in real estate, you should have absolutely watched The Big Short, the movie.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I am very obnoxious to watch that movie with because I'm like, oh, remember that seller on in Fort Worth? Oh, remember that like because I have a situation for every single. But it's such a great movie because it dumbs down
Yeah.
what really happened, right? And in a way that's really digestible of like, okay, this is how people get in these situations, and everyone thinks, I think the way people think is like, oh, they're irresponsible. No, it's life. Like you just don't know any better. You don't know what you don't know. And of course, there's people that make bad decisions, but for the majority, it was one thing after another. And, we're able to help them through that situation.
It's good that you're out there. There needs to be people like you who could be out there and help the seller and who's in the worst situation of their life, probably. And even an investor who's in the worst part of that. And they didn't expect something like that to happen. They didn't expect 2008. They didn't expect COVID. You know what I mean? They need people like you to be able to, solve a problem that they're hopefully never going to have to be impacted by again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. So what's one thing as we come close to closing the door? So what's one thing we haven't discussed that you can add value to either investors, real estate agents, short seller? What's something that we haven't talked about that you think should be talked about?
I think it's important to understand that real estate has changed. I think it's
Mm,
important to know that if you want to stay in this industry, you have to think differently. And the way that you approach these sellers, like you have to look at it as take your realtor hat off,
yeah.
take your investor hat off. How can you provide a solution? Human being to human being. Let me have a conversation to get context of what's going on. And how can I figure out the best strategy to make it a win win?
Mm.
And a lot of times people have these preconceived notions of like, oh, I'm a wholesaler, so I'm going to wholesale. Like, no, like you're a realtor, you're just going to list the house. That's not going to fit every scenario. And then you say things based on your experience versus listening. And a lot of people think that listening is passive, but it's the most active thing that you can do to truly understand what's going on. And the person that cares the most, they're going to get the deal every time. So if you're worried about staying in an industry that's changing because you don't know your value proposition, like this is the way that you have to think in order to thrive in this business.
People have got to look outside the box, and having you brought in is an outside the box type of thought. But then again, it should be part of the norm. If people are upside
Yeah.
down, there's no way typical real estate agent's going to be able to figure this out. It just, I don't, it
Right.
just, that's not the case. They need someone like you again on their side of the table because you bring everyone together to help propel the matter forward as I see it.
Absolutely.
All right, all right. So once again, how does someone get a hold of you if they're interested in the whole process?
Yeah. So if you want to connect with us, theshortsalequeen.com. And then if you want to kind of learn about kind of what we do and like about this niche, go on YouTube, The Short Sale Queen, go down a rabbit hole. You'll see so much training for free if you want to get started. So either way, we'd love to talk to you to see how we can help, or, free education if this is a niche you're wanting to get into.
I love it, Nicole, the short sale queen. I really appreciate you taking the time because you're a busy lady, and obviously 100 listings, 98 listings. You're a busy lady, and we really appreciate your time. For everyone out there watching, listening, this has been the Vast Voice telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Please do get a hold of Nicole. She can really help you if you're an investor, short seller, the whole list. Really appreciate it, guys.